Right, I'll try again. Okay, so I need to make a quick video about I think the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, seem very sinister to me. Their weird leftist agenda is really sinister and weird. Okay, I don't know if it's actually them that's doing it, but where I heard about it is on BBC Radio, on Radio 4, which I'm listening to while I've been driving. So that I think whoever it is who's going to try and get protected status for working class people, that's absolutely crazy. That's absolutely crazy. You know, maybe we could support working class people in some other way. I mean, for example, like council housing, subsidised housing, school, and free food in school meals. You know, that's quite a leg up, isn't it? And I don't think they are being held from the workplace. In fact, I think that working class people bully people who are perceived as middle class, like myself, because I've got a different accent from them. Bully people like me out of construction jobs in a way that I've discussed with other people as well who are in construction. So it's really sinister and weird that they're going for, if it is the BBC going for that, protected status for working class people, because I'm a painter decorator, and actually my grandfather was a painter decorator as well. You know, I'm doing 11-hour days, out of the house at the minute, including commuting. And, he was a painter decorator as well. So are we working class or not? Or is it because in between him and myself, my dad actually, worked really hard to afford an education, which is what people do in this country. So I've got a different accent, not a working class accent. But I work, and I'm from a working class background, apart from, directly one above my father's, potentially not working class, but going back one further generation was. So, really it's the difference between sort of handouts, and if you mollycoddle people, you see what happens. Okay, so, you don't want to be like given handouts to positions in the arts or something. If you want something in life, you go out and get it. That's kind of this is going to be an unpopular way of phrasing it, but it's Thatcher's Britain. Is that if you want something, go out and get it. You don't want to sit back at home or complain or blame other people and live on handouts. Is a pathetic way to live, ultimately. And what we want and need and is better for everyone is a level playing field, but that doesn't mean protected status for working class people is utterly ridiculous. And it ties into something else, which is Chris Packham's History of Punk, in which he goes on about someone being glassed, which I think was pretty inappropriate, extremely inappropriate for the time of day that it was. And I think to an extent it seemed to me that that there was an aspect there in that BBC programme of justifying violence for social change, and I don't think that that's acceptable, because the status quo, which is people like me and other people, everyone else, who have a job, a car and a house of some kind, are quite happy with the status quo. And so I think that the BBC is has a war on the middle classes, middle and upper classes to an extent. The BBC has. That for some reason they sort of don't like us because they're sort of loony lefties, and they don't like people. They think it's unfair that for example, my dad and other people's parents, worked and studied and worked themselves to a point, maybe from zero. Like I have here in the last few years, worked from basically zero to being a homeowner by grafting, not by whining and wanting to be treated specially and given handouts. Okay? So people have worked. So I've lost my train of thought a bit. And other people's parents have worked to get to a point. So it's not about living on handouts, it's about going out and, or given preferential treatment is completely wrong, and it's bizarre, and it's part of the loony left BBC's war on the middle classes. So there we go. I might not have covered everything, but that's the kind of a sort of cross-section of the situation. You know, the BBC are really weird and insidious and have all these different things going on. Oh yeah, also they had a few years ago, like around COVID or something, BBC was going into schools and interviewing and like sort of brainwashing children, basically is what they were doing. And they had the kid there on, you know, they're filming it because they've got access to, like, you know, all the channels and the radio and everything where they can do that mad propaganda. And they had the kid saying, and what did we learn today, little Timmy? And little Timmy sat there and he didn't feel right saying it. You could see it felt weird to say. And he was like, what we need to do is believe the BBC and not other people. And that's what they're brainwashing people about. So that's just a little bit at the end there. Some weird shit going on there. And, you know, it is potentially, like, you know, dangerous to say things about people who have power. Because, you know, they don't want to give it up. But, you know, I hope that Donald Trump does, like, do them for billions, and I hope it ends them, because, you know, they're insidious and weird. And it's not to say that, you know, some people working there might be nice. A lot of people are working there are nice. But essentially, with the best will in the world, you know, it's a little bit like the music industry and the movie industry, where, you know, to an extent, it's just a cover. A part of it is just a cover for a lot of very, you know, suspect, sus activities. And so hopefully with, you know, basically Donald Trump doing God's work and having, you know, plenty of time left in the office, he will take on the BBC, and people will be able to, like, you know, speak freely, because if you can't say things like this without, you know, something happening potentially, not that I think anything could happen, but, you know, I think that the BBC have a kind of stranglehold on kind of the way things are perceived, and I think that that's completely wrong. And I think people don't necessarily feel safe to say anything about it, and I think that's weird. Anything else? Oh yeah, if your car is fogging up, you have to press the button, which has a picture of a car and then a curved arrow, and that's like the circulate air button. So when it's off, like the air's coming from the outside, it's for if you get stuck behind a vehicle or van belching black diesel smoke, or if there's like any kind of smoke or fumes, is to press that button, stop air coming in from the outside. And then 99% of people don't know what that button actually does, but that's what it does. So you have to press that, and so people accidentally leave it on because they don't know what it even does or if it's on or off. And if you do press that no air button, which I call it, because that's what the function is, when you press it on, that's no air from outside, then that makes your car mist up. So quite often when you see people, if you see someone driving around with a misted up car and you stop next to them, you go, you might want to press that weird button, which no one knows what it does, picture of a car and an arrow.